अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा में दहशतगर्दी के मुतासिरीन की एसोसिएशन नेटवर्क के आगाज़ पर पाकिस्तानी कौंसलर जवाद अजमल ने खिताब करते हुए कहा, इलाकाई हरीफ की सरपरस्ती में दहशतगर्दी का सामना है।
जाफर एक्सप्रेस पर हमले के बारे में शवाहिद मौजूद हैं कि इलाकाई हरीफों की मुआवनत से किया गया। आलमी बरादरी दहशतगर्द हमलों के मुतासिरीन और उन खानदानों की हिमायत करे। पाकिस्तान ने पहलगाम में हुए हमले की मजम्मत की है।
The government and the people of Pakistan pay solemn tribute to all those who have suffered from the menace of terrorism. We express our solidarity with the victims and families of those who have been affected by this scourge in a never-ending cycle of violence. Today, as we all gather to promote dialogue and engagement on issues related to rights and needs of terror-inflicted victims, we must recognize and remember those who are no longer amongst us today and also pay homage to those who perished while protecting them. Madam Chair, for over 2 decades, my country has been one of the worst victims of terrorism. With loss of more than 80,000 precious human lives and thousands injured, we remain inspired by the resilience and strength of our nation. Pakistan has credible evidence that this attack had external sponsorship from our adversaries in the region. The international community has a responsibility to protect and support the lives of those who have survived from these brutal attacks and the families of victims whose lives change after such tragedies. Equally important is the need to work together to prevent further attacks, holding terrorists and their handlers to account and adopting a uniform victim-centric approach without selectivity while addressing the challenges faced in conflict zones. If we are to chart a way forward for victims, we must look beyond narrow political interests and geopolitical agendas. We must examine why, despite global strategies, the terrorism threats continue to proliferate and is giving rise to an ever-increasing number of victims. I would like to make a few points. First, we must address root causes of terrorism and the conditions conducive to terrorism. Second, we must be able to distinguish between terrorism and the legitimate struggles for self-determination. Third, we must address state-sponsored terrorism. Fourth, we must have a consensual definition of terrorism by taking into account the new and emerging trends. Fifth, we must address challenges emanating from new tools of terrorism on social media and the dark web that seek to deepen divisions and sow the seeds of discord, including incitement to violence. Finally, we must counter disinformation campaigns aimed at spreading hate speech and propaganda. Pakistan condemns terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, including right-wing, Islamophobic, racially and ethnically motivated, and above all, state-sponsored terrorism that is giving rise to the victim count with every passing day. Our inability to address these issues will give rise to more victims in our societies, the physical and psychological effects of which have long-lasting and terrible consequences. The international community owes it to the victims of terrorism and has a moral and legal obligation to take effective steps to suppress terrorism wherever it may be, in whatever form it exists and without political considerations. The more terrorism there is, the more victims there will be. And finally, on the recent attack in Pahalgam, we are concerned at the loss of tourists' lives in this attack in Anantnag district of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the near ones of the deceased and wish the injured a speedy recovery. Pakistan joined fellow UN Security Council members last to condemn this attack. I thank you, Madam Chair.